This podcast contains adult language, descriptions of violence, sexual references, and other possibly offensive themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Previously on Back to the Story.
He takes a step forward and raises a hand to shake yours, moving the spear to his other hand.
I'm going to use Divine Sense.
Fiend. Screams fiend. As they all begin to mount their horses and they look at you. Kalvyn, your steed.
Kind of been struggling with some internal demons of my own, so to speak. I don't know. I'm feeling terribly guilty about what happened with those bugbears.
I understand this blade is important to you and your people. I will make sure to bring it back to the mantle.
Back. So we just did Amsen, and so we can move on. Who's next? So we have Vesper or Meli. Who wants to go?
I'll have my scene with Ellory then.
Okay. You pull her aside when and where?
Yeah, it'll probably be probably after like kind of a quieter day at the hospital. When I come home a little, or come back to the tavern a little bit early, but still kind of later in the evening.
Let me actually do this. I should be doing this throughout the list. I'll do it subsequently. But Vesper, you've met your surgeons and your healers, and you've been helping them first with just minor stuff like handing them the tools, and eventually slowly helping them with bandages and slowly working your way through it. All the while also learning how you can use alchemy and herbalism to supplement that healing, and training in the herbalism as well. Finding a smaller apparatus to be able to do this quickly and on the road as you're learning how to take care of your patients. A lot of them, some of them are sicknesses, others are wounds. And at some point while you're learning that out, you find a quiet day on the hospital to be able to pull Ellory aside.
Hey, sorry, it's been busy.
Well, you've been up to your elbows in blood and guts, I assume, so...
What's new? Only this time it's strangers and not you all. We were gonna try and talk to Kel, weren't we?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I know, I wanted to do it, closer to when we arrived, but there's been a lot of shit going on.
Well, fuck, I don't even know if she's gonna want to hear from me.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
Maybe there's a good reason why she's never tried to visit or why she didn't say anything when she left. But you're right, there's only one way to find out.
And if there is a reason, then she is a fool for leaving you. I'm not getting to know the person you grew up into.
So how does this work? Is there anything that you need from me?
A message. I should probably start it off with something like, "Hi, I'm Ellory's friend."
I don't even know what to say to her. I guess that I want to know where she is, and if she wants to see me, maybe tell her where we are right now. I guess. I don't know how much room you have for your messages, but...
I can send two. So, if you need to reply again. I'm at exactly 25 right now.
Can I hear what you want to say? What you have down?
I can probably take her name off and get another word. Okay. But I said, "Kel, I'm Ellory's friend. She wants to know where you are, and do you want to see her? We're in Nymunet in the INL.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think that's all we need.
Okay. And if, you need to say more, then I've got another message.
Okay.
So I will cast sending, and I will send that first message out.
Okay. You reach out as you focus on the image of Kel and the connection through Ellory. You send this message out. A couple moments pass, but then you hear a voice in your head.
"Ellory, I am sorry. I had to leave. I wish I could see you, and I hope I can. But I have some business for us in the Iron Gulch. They found me."
And I'm not counting my words.
I was going to say, I'm like, damn, she gets more than I do.
And so we'll end it at that.
Sure. And I will repeat it as she's saying it.
I hug Vesper.
Yeah.
Okay, can you tell her that I miss her? Ask her if she needs help. She said that somebody found her. Who found her?
Just said they. I'll ask.
So reaching out to the image and visual of Kel again. They speak.
Okay, yeah. So I say, Ellory misses you. Who found you? Do you need help? There are 7 of us who can aid you.
Tell her I miss her too, but this is mine to bear. I have to do it myself.
I repeat.
Okay. She didn't say who found her. I don't know. She said the Iron Gulch. Where is that? We know where that is, don't we? Kind of.
You don't.
Okay.
I mean, you could research it, but like right now, you don't.
I haven't heard of it before. She's alive?
Yeah, I think that's part of what I was afraid of, that maybe she wasn't. Okay. Can you maybe check in with her once in a while?
Yeah, certainly.
It sounds like whatever's going on, whatever she's doing is dangerous.
Maybe we can find a time every couple of weeks and sit down and talk to her. I should be better about checking in with my own mom.
Wait. What?
I only tried once and I didn't get a verbal response, so I don't know if she actually heard me.
I thought she died when you were little.
I thought so too. And I talked to Lysander before we left home, and that may or may not be the case. She was taken from us, back to the fire plane, I think, but we don't know if she was dead. If she died, but...
Taken?
Yeah. It sounded like, a slavery thing.
Oh, fuck.
So.
Vesper. Do we need to go find your mom?
Again, I don't know if she's actually alive or not. I didn't get a real response. I might try again at some point, but we've got other things going on, and I want to talk to Varys before I make any plans to find her.
Okay, we've got other things going on, but that doesn't mean that this isn't important.
I know, but again, I need to talk to Varys. It's his marriage, if I bring her home and suddenly his husband's ex-wife is there, that's not great.
Yeah, that's fucking complicated.
Yeah. Her current wife, if she's not dead, they're still technically...
Oh, that's really fucking complicated. Well, he should definitely check in.
Yeah. I think I'm just scared that I'm not going to get an answer, or maybe I'm scared that I will.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
What do I do then?
Well, then I don't have an answer for that, but...
Yeah.
But it doesn't help not to try. I think it's worth it to look, even if you don't find the answer that you're looking for.
Yeah, I'd like to know for sure.
What did her voice sound like?
And I will describe her voice and the way she said things as we fade out.
Okay. Yeah. She describes it as heavily accented and very breathy, like the wind. And as you guys fade out over this nearly a year or months go on in Nymunet, you check in every once in a while with Kel, who, and the more you push her, the more she's unwilling to give any information on like where she's going or what she has to do. She wants to keep Ellory safe. And she basically says that keeping her out of the loop of this is the best way to do that. That's why she left. But she is sorry she has to, as we zoom out and you'll kind of do that periodically. Meli?
If I check in, if I do check in with Halos, is there anything? Or is it just that warmth again?
You feel that You feel that. You hear wind, but you can't make out words. And as we'll move on to Meli, who spends her time learning, studying, crafting scrolls.
Can I do something?
Please, yes.
I just want to send a sending spell to my dad. Just saying, hi, it's Meli. I made it to Novikov just fine. How is everything at home?
Meli, so glad to hear that. I'm proud of you and your wardship. Everything's doing great here. Can't wait for you to return. So much is changing of the Norbel Tower. I will contact those in Novikov and send something to you. And it cuts off.
I'll send another one saying, sounds great. I'm
Proud of you.
Okay.
Love you.
Love you too. Oh, I'm gonna be so much trouble.
Oh boy. Mail takes a long time though. He'll
yeah.
You know.
I might be there by the time it gets there. We don't know.
Maybe. Okay. So we'll essentially go back through the list. As Meli, you spent the other times studying, researching, crafting those scrolls, whichever ones you wanted to prepare. And I'll say there is something on your research list, but I'll go ahead and give it to you now. You research trying to learn, where do souls go when they die? You delve through various books, religious texts written by arcane wizards, hypothesizing on what happens. The general consensus is when a soul perishes, it moves through the ethereal plane into the astral sea when it then passes to its final destination. That destination is, if they're a follower of a deity, they'll go there. If there's something that lays claim to the soul, it will go there. If multiple entities lay claim to it, the soul may be split. If the soul has no claim laid upon it and has no particular god it follows, it will go to the closest realm to how it lived in life. An unreligious soldier may end up in the realm of Wolfrath. One of the big differences is followers of Asintma don't go to a realm. The divinity of Asintma is bonded and anchored to the world itself, so those followers are reborn. Sometimes as another humanoid, and sometimes as a beast, sometimes as a plant. They're reborn into the spirits of nature. They rejoin it and then are birthed again. So you find that out.
Cool, thanks.
So we'll come back up to Kalvyn. So you've been training with the Nymunets in the spear, the shield, learning of the order. You've gained your sash at this point, and you've been smithing. What else do you do?
Did I complete my shtickles? My projects?
Yeah, it's been probably a couple months at this point, or a couple weeks, or maybe a couple months, or however long. If you want that to happen earlier, but yeah, you've had enough time to complete these things.
Yeah, I would have liked it to happen a little bit earlier. I would after he talks to Amsen, but definitely not too much later. Kalvyn would go find Vesper.
When and where do you pull her aside? In the tavern, at the temple, day, night?
Where is Vesper staying? Do I know? I mean...
Yeah, you can easily ask around and find out. We're going to skip it kind of through that section. But you find out she's working at the hospital at Redemption Zenith most of the time, sometimes spending time in the temple. I'm not sure, Vesper, if you live in the tavern or if you would have been offered housing.
Yeah, I think I mostly stay at the temple because I'm usually there probably really late. But if it's a quieter day, I'll go back to the tavern and spend time with Scales. But like I said, I think as she gets into working and training and everything, she sees less and less of them.
Okay. With that, well, assuming that there's still maybe an idea, he'll catch her at a quieter day, probably on her outside of the tavern, maybe something like that. Not somewhere, again, without everybody else around. Outside's fine.
Okay.
On the way to work, he's like,
you pull her aside.
There you are.
Oh,
boo! I'm in the bushes.
Jesus.
No, sorry. I'm joking.
Hey, Kalvyn.
Hey, Vesper. I haven't had a chance to really talk to any of y'all. You especially, since we kind of been to Nymunet. I kind of was hoping to have a few moments. That's all right.
Yeah, I was too, but every time I went to go and talk to you, you kind of brushed us off or weren't there. Or...
Yeah, I can't help but apologize for that. That's really... I was going through some stuff. I kind of didn't really... I mean, you might actually have experienced some of that. Coming back was kind of hard. And dealing with the fact that I wasn't exactly strong enough to make it through.
Oh, Kalvyn, don't. You were more than enough. Sorry, I couldn't get to you.
It's no, y'all have done plenty for me, and I can't thank you enough. I don't want y'all to think you didn't do enough for me. But with that regard, I kind of feel like I might have cheapened your pilgrimage. This whole thing was kind of for you, and at the final stretch, I kind of slipped, and y'all
fine.
had to make it more about. I don't know. I just felt really bad.
Kalvyn, we made it, and you're back. If you didn't come back, that would have spoiled my pilgrimage. If I got here and instead of gaining my redemption, I had lost one of my best friends, that would have spoiled things. Don't worry about it. We're here. That's what matters.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you making me feel better. Regardless, I made you something. Kind of when I was kind of welcomed into the Temple of All Soul in Whiteguard. That's when I was given my mantle, when I became a Nymunet. And I don't know if you got anything when you joined your temple, but I made you something. And he holds out a silver ring with an etching of a lion's head and an angel wing behind it. I could find a picture, but I didn't load one.
Thank you.
I kind of wanted to make it up to you, you know?
Yeah, this is beautiful. Thank you, Kalvyn. And I'm sorry that I didn't know that you were a Nymunet. Didn't know what your honor and glory were. They asked us, and we didn't have an answer, and I really did feel terrible about that.
I never wanted to take away anything from anybody else. You know, I didn't really want the spotlight, and this isn't about me. I just found this on the way, so...
Still, it's important, right? To you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Then
more
it's
than
important.
I can really explain right now.
Then it's important, Kalvyn, to all of us.
Thank you.
And I kind of want to say something at the ceremony, but I didn't think it was right. And when I tried for that to help you come back, it didn't really go so well. But I wanted to apologize for, and I know this is probably way too little too late, but for all the shit that I said to you while we were growing up and after Ustax.
Oh, there's nothing to apologize for. That was...
Well, I said some really awful shit, and you proved me wrong. You know, you're not just physically strong, you are strong here, and I kind of tap him in the head, and here, and tap him on the chest. Stronger than most of us, if not all of us.
Oh, well, I don't know about that, but thank you. I don't think... I mean, at the time, it was... He turns away, he wipes the knife.
Oh. Yeah, you can always talk to me if you need to. I know I'm not a great listener, but I'm trying to be better. Working on my bedside manner at the hospital. I just want to be a good friend to you going forward, because I haven't been.
Don't be so hard on yourself. You've been there for us and for all of us. So he'll kind of a lot more awkwardly kind of walk towards it and be like, "This feels like a hug moment." But
I hug him.
Like,
yeah,
I don't know about this one.
Chuck, whatever. And then I will put the ring on my pinky finger on my right hand, or whatever finger it fits, I guess, on that hand, and catch him later.
And Kalvyn, did you ride your Obadon steed?
Is that normal? I mean, can we ride through the town with those things?
Yeah, people ride horses and stuff. The wards are like kind of far apart. Like it's not because they were originally separate cities that are just in relative proximity. So yeah, you see people out riding dire wolves and horses and stuff.
Oh, then for sure. I mean, he's like, okay, so like in Lord of the Rings, you know how, what's his name? The guy that played Aragorn.
Viggo Mortensen?
Just call him Aragorn.
He ran. While he was Aragorn was learning his pose. He was getting comfortable. He would walk around the city with the sword all the time because he would go to dinner with it to get acclimated to it. Totally there's been times where Kalvyn has tried to walk his horse into blacksmiths to get materials or some shit. He's everywhere he can. He's
see
dragging.
Kalvyn mount this gilded horse with this strange paint pattern, wearing his dragon scale armor with his mantle of the sun, and a sash that kind of hangs from his belt as he rides off on his gleaming mount. True knight. So we will go down the list. I think the next person is Ezekiel. You had a couple things. I don't know if you want to talk to your family or work on the map, or what do you got?
I will go talk to my parents.
Okay. Yeah, so after you get fitted for the harness and you talk to Orzana and some of their friends, just kind of introducing them to the Grove, a few seem pretty interested. Most of her friends are elven or half-elven, so they're used to being outdoors and they like what the Grove has to offer. But you eventually do make your way to your parents' house. When did you want to do it? Did you want to do it during the day, at night, during a dinner?
Yeah, let's go to dinner.
Okay. So you go to Foxtail Manor, the manor for the city commissioner, the position currently held by your father, Xavier. Your mother, Joanna's there, as well as your older brother is there, Jebediah. You sit down and food is served from the servants, falling into this strange reversion back to your youth when you're sitting in the same seat you always sit in, and your father's at the same seat he's always sitting in, and he's drinking the same drink that he always drinks. And it's quiet at first. Jebediah kind of breaks the silence, kind of catches you up on what he's been doing. He's kind of working with your father on sort of more economic and trade deals with some of the nearby cities, helping sort of the commissioner office. But then there's kind of a strange silence that washes over.
Yeah, that all sounds just fascinating. Well, Mother, Father, I understand we're all uncomfortable, but I saw the error in leaving without saying a word, and I may be gone a while again. And I guess wanted to say bye or anything. Look at my mother pleadingly.
She says, "Oh, honey," and she gets up and she gives you a hug. Your father kind of downs the last bit of his whiskey and kind of puts it down on the table again. You did good. You did good. I talked to the Green Knights. You told me what you did.
Well, something needed to be done and my friends could help. I'm glad I could keep this place safe.
When will you be back?
I don't know. There's some dark tidings that we've gotten. This group that I've gathered together with, whatever destiny they have, it's entwined with mine. So, we're gonna go try and save the world.
Yeah. Your mother kind of puts her hands on yours and says, "That sounds nice. Just check in with us. All right?" And as she's saying that, your father is kind of doesn't roll his eyes, but he's destiny again. He kind of shakes his drink as it does. One of the servants kind of moves over and quickly pours him some more whiskey. Your grandmother had a destiny too, as he drinks down some of his whiskey.
I cannot help the circumstances of my birth or the words that were spoken to me in my dreams since I was a child. I'm sorry it wasn't you. I imagine my world would be a whole lot easier if it was.
Me? He slams the drink down and kind of stands up, angrily kind of gripping the edge of the table. And you can see, and you notice this growing up, there's always been a chip on his shoulder, with his mother being this huge figure. And your dad trained with the Knights, and he didn't end up being able to stick with it. And there's always been a chip on his shoulder that he wasn't the next one. You're just going to waste it. As he turns about and walks out of the room, pushing over the double doors that lead into the dining room. And you hear him stomping towards the kitchen.
You know how your father is, Ezekiel. Don't worry about him.
And Jebediah kind of cuts in.
He's like that, but brother, he was proud of you with that thing out on the great track.
Yeah, I'm sure he got to feel quite proud around town for a change. Yeah. Well, thank you for the lovely dinner. I will keep in touch a little bit more. And if you get the chance, go spend some time at the Grove. I think you'll like it there. Maybe don't bring. Anyway, bye. And I turn into something and run.
Okay. Your mother's like, oh, I got you. And she turns over to grab something. And then you turn into what and run?
I think just a deer. Just a regular-sized one.
A deer in the middle of this dining room. Pushing the carpet rug kind of slides aside as you kind of run out with your graceful self out and sprint through the streets, a deer exiting Briarbridge. Oh my God, Ezekiel. And as we zoom out on Ezekiel, spending time recruiting, you get your harness, you stalk to your family. Ball, did you have something else you wanted to do? I think you had one.
I don't know if I had anything that needed to be a scene. It might be more of like kind of research vibe.
Okay. Yeah, I have some of those notes here.
Unless you think if you want to play, I mean, because you know what I want to do. If you think any of those should be kind of a scene, then I'm happy to scene it out.
Okay. I think you had a good amount of research here. I will say we'll do this. At some point when you're working with the glaive, kind of maintaining your attunement to it, practicing with it, swinging it, feeling out those runes and the magic attached to it, you feel whenever you have the mask on you, and whenever those two items are close, you feel their power, like they're almost resonating with each other, building when they're close. And you can't help but feeling would be stronger if you put it on. The mask has, as you've kind of attuned to it without wearing it, the mask has grown in size, shifted a bit to better fit your facial structure as opposed to the Oni's.
Got it.
Do you ever put on the mask in this year in Nymunet?
There was a time when we went to the Bugbear encampment. Ball did put on the mask then, but I might have just kind of glossed over that really quickly. So yeah, I'd say Ball did it before, he'll do it again kind of thing, and put the mask on and kind of see what this kind of resonance that he's feeling between the weapon and the mask.
Okay. Putting on this mask again, you feel that resonance increase. You feel additional power being channeled through from the mask as it tightens around this time. The first time was almost just loosely held by the strap. This time the mask almost conforms to your face, wrapping around. It's uncomfortable at first, but soon you can't even feel it's on there. And you feel an increased power running from it into your glaive. You practice with it and you're able to do more with that glaive than you ever could before. You can force elements from it. And you're able to take off the mask, but that night you have strange dreams. You have dreams that you're sitting at a table in the middle of the woods. It's daytime. You can hear birds and butterflies landing on nearby flowers. And there's just a chair, your size, and a table in the middle of the woods. And as you look around, you kind of hear this constant clicking, precise like a clock. And you see someone step out from a nearby tree. And they walk forward. And we see, kind of panning up from the ground, we see boots, yellow. We see silk pants, yellow, with a black stripe running down the side. We see a belt of shimmering gold and silver with gems inlaid within. We see a coat and a vest and a tie, a suit of yellow. And we see a man with very sharp features, a long, protruding sharp nose, a chin that seems to hang down, pointy, sharp, with these long ears that sprout out and back, longer than any elves you've ever seen before. And atop you see a conical hat with a rim, like a witch's hat, bright yellow. And upon the man's shoulders, you see a monkey sitting on the shoulders, small, about the size of maybe a cat. And it's sitting there and is holding a stopwatch, gilded watch in its hands. As the man moves forward, smiles and takes the chair, pulls it out for himself, and sits down. The man smiles and gestures, opening his hands wide, and hear a voice. But his mouth doesn't move, you just see him smile. Looks like you're on the market. Not what I expected, but we got rid of the Oni brothers. I'm sure you're very capable. And you realize as this man is just smiling, the voice isn't in your head, you hear it, and then you realize it is the monkey on his shoulder that's speaking. As the monkey speaks, the man gestures in sync with the monkey talking. My name's George. And he reaches his hand, the man reaches his hand out to shake yours. What do you do, Ball?
Does this feel like a dream to Ball, or does it feel kind of real?
It's the realest dream you've ever felt, but it feels like a dream.
Before Ball shakes his hand, he's going to do Divine Sense. He's going to try to do that, because he's going to feel like this is too real.
Okay. As you press your vision out, there's this strange overload as if it's being pushed through water or something, some sort of obscuring force. But you don't sense any sort of celestial fiend or undead. You just have a very weird dream with this man in yellow with a monkey on his shoulder reaching out to shake your hand.
Well, since my divine sense comes back negative, Ball will kind of hesitantly reach out his hand to shake the man's hand and say, I'm Ball. Nice to meet the both of you. Where am I?
You're dreaming, Ball. Pleasure to meet you as well. Things are changing here. In your dream, of course. I'm so excited. I'm on the market. It appears you are as well. I have much to offer. How effective are you with that weapon? Have you ever chopped a salad with it, or a tree, perhaps?
This is the part where, Roger feels like I should be like, Ball says, I want to see my lawyer. But, he can't, so Ball will just kind of say, maybe instead of Ball answering, he'll just kind of say, What are you?
I'm George. You see the man, point towards his chest. I'm George. I think we've gone over this. You don't have to make any decisions now. I'll be in contact. Pleasure to meet you, George. The man continues to smile, but his mouth doesn't move. The dream fades. The colors fade out, and then the light fades out after it. With the last thing you see is his smiling teeth before you wake up the next morning.
Does he have nice teeth?
Yeah, gleaming white teeth. But it seems like there's too many of them, or they're too sharp. There's something off. They're all incisors. But otherwise you wake up, and we'll move down to Ellory. So you continue to train, you do some shopping with Vesper. What else did you want to do?
Probably training is the thing to do now.
Okay. So as you go through this downtime, spending your time here, so the Voyager who promised to train you eventually returns to the temple. You catch a little bit overhearing, and some of the others that are spending a lot of time might have catch this as well. Some of the leaders from temples have been meeting. They have some sort of a unifying council of some sort to kind of govern or deal with things as the city of Nymunet in its totality. But eventually she returns, Saris the Salted, with her cloak of blue scales, and she begins to train you. She begins to train you in channeling magic of the storm. You show her your abilities, and she's impressed. And then she puts you through the test of trying to channel these magics in the storm, dealing with the wind and the rain and the thunder and the lightning, and trying to maintain that while you're within the storm itself. And as a challenge, as you begin training, your spells immediately just fall, as this powerful storm racks against you. But eventually you learn to start to control it a little bit, be more resilient against it, hold on to these spells. You learn a bit more of Ultimary, a bit more of Gaethalt. You learn a little bit more of Gath, who apparently sails around Gaethalt in a ship he's not here much. And you begin to learn the verbal components of thunder, the thunder voice, which is speaking thunder, which is something between the language and a word of power in order to amplify your spells past what they're normally capable of doing. You're learning to mix the natural magic that channels and rushes through you almost uncontrollably with the magic of Voltamari in the storm. Saros does take you when Gath returns through the portal. Saros can sort of control float down in the storm, so she helps you do that, but Gath kind of is there to watch, and he can fully fly through the storm. He almost walks through it with ease. But Saros does help guide you and a few others that are being trained onto the ship. And you see the power of that storm wall, this huge Category 6 hurricane that's just ever present. The storm winds whipping around. You can see lightning, almost balls of it, that's going to circle around as if the plasma of the lightning takes a different form in this place. The first couple times you visit, Gath doesn't get anywhere near it. He kind of circles around it. There's a few rough islands that remain that have some bit of shelter where you can be close to the storm. And here you practice on those rocks and beaches in the overhangs of rocks to protect you from the wind and the storm and the waves. And this is where your real challenge is, where your real training begins. And it is not learning. It is not reading. It is fighting and trying to survive in the storm. Is there anything else you wanted to do besides that sort of training sequence?
I think at some point in all of this, I would want to talk to one of them about some of my, I don't know if reservations is the right word, but some of my challenges, okay. I guess.
Yeah, who did you want to talk to?
That's a good question.
So there's Gath, who's kind of the most important. There's Saros, who seems to be the most nurturing relative to all the others. There's Braun, who's more of a brute. And then there's Carrie, who's like a zealot. There's a few others that you're training with, but those seem to be the ones that are taking y'all under the wing the most.
I think I would probably talk to Saros in this point, at this point. Okay. Since she's maybe a little bit more approachable than some of the others.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're able to kind of pull her aside.
So, I have a question for you. How do you deal with fear?
Well, at first, I dealt with it by shoving it aside, overcoming it with willpower, getting angry at it, that I couldn't walk into that. And she kind of gestures at the storm wall. And she peek over the wall, and it's miles away is the nearest island that wouldn't just wreck you. But eventually, that's not enough. Eventually, the true test of Voltamari is to live in it, to feel that fear, not to hide from it or ignore it or shove it aside, but to live in it. You see her brow furrow as she's trying to, she realizes what she's saying is backwards and it doesn't make sense. It's hard to explain.
I think I have an idea of what you mean, though. I've been so afraid of so many things, and I'm kind of sick of it, but the way that I dealt with it, the way that I have dealt with it is by getting angry or ignoring it, and that isn't working.
We'll have to face it.
You know, when I jumped into the storm that first time, I was so small and I was so insignificant, but I think for the first time that was okay, because who isn't small and insignificant next to that? And I point up at the storm wall.
Yeah, she chuckles and glances over at this wall that's a couple miles wide.
And to think this is just a remnant of what lies in the astral sea. We are small, but those who meet our challenges can carry with us a piece of that. You can speak with the thunder voice. Gath can walk in the storm. Insignificant indeed.
I'm glad to be a part of this.
She kind of looks down at that. Yes. And she begins to, like she does, she does this fairly often, almost like stares off the distance. And you are sometimes overwhelmed with this feeling, and those you train with, this feeling of insignificance and this weird mix of reverence and fear of the storm. Because everybody on this island training knows that to fully become salted, you have to go through it by yourself, unaided. And everybody knows that, who knows, half the people that go in don't come out. And you don't know if they're wake up on some island halfway across the Nor, or if they're shattered against the rocks. But then there's people like Gath who come out of it and can throw lightning and fly and speak with thunder. I'm glad to be a part of it too.
It's like it doesn't really matter anymore what other people expect, what other people's judgments are, or even what your own expectations or judgments are for yourself. Because there's more than that.
There's the storm. There and here. She kind of points to her heart. The part we carry with us. And it sounds like she's whispering because she has kind of a high breathy voice, but you are having to not yell, but nearly yell with just the sound. And it's always strange when you come out of these training sessions because you have to adjust your voice because you're used to speaking so loudly in this place. Ready to go again?
As usual, I don't know if I'm ready, but there's only one way to find out.
She slaps your back as you'll begin training once more. And there's a combination of people who harness magical energy and others that Braun is more training on this island that use weapons more. And still others that are kind of in between who don't use weapons and don't use magic. You notice these as some of the monks that travel in this place as well. And you'll begin training once more, miles away from the massive Gaethalt. And moving down, Amsen.
You ready for this?
Oh boy, what that is.
Come on, you know it.
Yeah, I think I might.
So, at some point during the downtime, Amsen's going to do what he does best and make a lot of noise. And he's going to go up and down the streets of Nymunet for 3 days challenging the gambler to show up and defend their honor as a bard.
As word eventually spreads through the city from tavern to tavern, as you hear the gambler is in town, eventually word comes to you. They send a letter that she's in a particular tavern and she's ready for you. You show up, and as you get to the bar, there's a crowd of people inside. It's almost wall-to-wall people. Moving in, this is a venue, a musical venue. As you move inside, there's sort of the bar on the outer level. But as you move through the tavern to the other side, there's almost a courtyard that has stadium-like seating that goes down, and then a stage at the end where there are numerous people moving in. You can see bouncers and the proprietors of this establishment forcing tickets as the gambler comes to town. You hear her finishing up a song, strumming on a guitar as she finishes, and you see someone moving through the crowd being booed as they're exited. As you see this man holding a mandolin, head down, and just is moving out. This older man being booed out. You step up to where you can see the stage, and upon it you see the gambler, or what you've been described as her. You see a pretty girl, woman, chocolate brown hair that kind of folds down. She's wearing a wide-brimmed hat. Her clothes are dark, but she has colorful feathers and jewelry hanging off. And she holds a guitar that's been intricately painted with patterns of black and white and red and yellow. As you see her kind of smiling to the crowd, holding her hands out, welcoming the next challenger.
Apparently someone has asked if the rest of the party is there and invited as well.
Did Amsen tell him?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, so whoever wanted to come shows up and is able to push through getting seats. As the man that kind of informed you about Holly kind of leads you back almost like a backstage hallway that leads to the back of the stage. You see Holly kind of comes to the side and meets you there. Or the gambler does. Oh, hey. You
Hello there.
Amsen?
That is correct.
Pleasure. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. We're going to have some fun tonight. You singing type or the storyteller?
A little bit of
What's
both.
your game? A little bit of both. I like it. What you want to start out with?
I got a story that we can start off with.
Let's hear it. She comes out. Hey, y'all. We got a special guest tonight. We have Amsen. She kind of looks over. Arms Blossom? Is that right?
Arms Blossom.
Amsen Arms Blossom, a good friend of mine, has come out with a challenge and a story. Let's hear him out. And she kind of moves to the side, finding a stool to kind of hear your story.
Okay, so I wrote these a little bit short, just to not take up too much time. So Amsen will take the stage, he'll give the gambler a respectful bow, and he will go into a poetic story that kind of starts off like this. Over the hills and far away, in the land of darkness and strife, lived a little farm boy named Kalvyn, who came from a humble life. He was brave and strong and humble and kind in everything he'd do, but he never imagined the adventure ahead of him and all the trouble he'd go through. He wanted to be a smith, and that he was good at, it's true, but one thing led to another, and he became a hero for me and you. So let me tell you the tale of this young man turned great, and I'll try not to make you cough while you finish up your plate. And Amsen will tell this edited tale of how Kalvyn took the stand and rescued a fair maiden, one of the most beautiful in the land, etc., etc., etc.
Okay, make a persuasion check.
Oh boy. Hey, that's a good one. Persuasion, 26.
26. Okay, so as you tell this tale, the crowd begins to lean in hushed voices as they listen to your story, and with each ebb and flow of the story, reaching the apex, you can see some of them are leaning on the edge of their seats listening to the story. There are great applause and calls and hoops and hollers and drinks raised into the air as you finish your story. Even the gambler kind of claps. Well, that wasn't too bad. She kind of pulls her collar, feigning nervousness. Oh boy, how am I going to follow that? She moves over to you and kind of slaps the back of your shoulder. That was pretty good. Well, let me ask you this, Amsen, Arms Blossom. Do you like to gamble? Do you like to roll the dice? On occasion. Would this be such an occasion? And she's kind of like walking the stage, circling you like a shark.
Amsen will silently listen to her.
Well, I like to gamble. And she kind of pulls out her guitar. And I'll gamble just about anything. I'll gamble the clothes off my back, so give me a good drink. And she begins to strum and tell the story of how, going off your story about saving a damsel, she begins to strum and sing a song about a damsel being saved. And as she tells it, she talks about Johnny Walker, the knight, failing, and Tequila Taran failing, and vodka failing. And she's telling the story that's a metaphor of this drunken damsel just trying to make her way home out of the bar. You notice as she finishes, people clap and people seem to like it. You do notice it seems to be more because of her reputation and less the story itself. There's some calls, but it's no bigger than yours. And we'll say as y'all swap back and forth, moving on to the next story, with Amsen kind of steps up and begins the next round.
All right. This one's a poem. He'll get a glass, show a little bit of showmanship, raise it. An ode to the silent helper, to the wife who stays with the tots, to the father of a motherless daughter, to the healer behind the hero, to the scout who enemies spots. May your days be long and joyful, may your life be kind and true. For the heart you give to all of us, there's no one kinder than you. And although your stories may hide in shadow, and your life may feel like woe, know this, that you're the light of our lives, and through reflection of your light, we glow. Thank you for all that you do.
Give me another, give me a performance check on that one.
Sure. Yeah, let's go with this one. Nat 20.
Oh my god. So a few kind of riled up from the previous story raise their drinks. There's a few in the front rows that you see them wiping away tears. You see some of the women of the bar kind of move themselves forward, fawning over, and a few men as well, fawning over Amsen. The gambler kind of brings you back, or kind of moves to the side, kind of whispering in over your shoulder in your ear. Well, now you're making me look bad. Let's say we work out a deal. You take a fall, and there might be something in it for you. Coin? Or something more?
Amsen will think a little bit, and he'll say, I'm just here for the good stories.
I could give you something more. She kind of gestures to the inn. I'll give you something better than a story.
Amsen will kind of chuckle and say, I'm a performer first, above all else.
Oh, you should reconsider. And as she does that, you see a smile come across her face. She almost has a perpetual wry grin, but the smile shifts. Make a wisdom saving throw for me.
Oh, good.
See within 10.
It's okay. I rolled good again.
What'd you roll?
It says there's a 1 and a 9 on the die, so I think that's a 19.
Yeah, that would be what 19 means. Okay. So you feel this strange, you start to nod, then you shake your head out of it. And you look over, and her eyes, which are normally this bright greenish color, you swore for a second they were a different color. They were deep and red.
Can I do something tricky?
What do you want to do?
Can I say, of course, my lady?
Ooh. Yeah, make a deception check.
Ooh, that's not a good one. No. Yeah, I'm gonna use luck.
Okay.
That was not a good number. That's not much better, but it's deception, so it's okay. That's a 14.
Okay. I'm so happy you obliged. And she kind of nods towards the stage. So what do you do? Do you tell another story, or do you take the fall?
Well, if that's it, I'm going to keep going, and Amsen's going to go all out to finish this ensemble.
Okay.
Giving her the illusion that it worked, and he's going to go no holds barred. Hopefully I don't kill this one.
Oh, Amsen dies from that pun. He just dies. He's in hell now, performing in hell.
Okay, so Amsen's gonna sing. He's gonna sing a song, and it goes like this. Life is adventure, story from our lives. Say we dance and discover the signs. I refuse to settle, always the fight or flight. Rock the mud stains until the day I die. I'm on a constant search for the right spell. Bite off too much, chew like hell. Half my nights spent on a death knell. Price I pay to escape the traditional one. You get one heartbeat, so take it seriously. This is your masterpiece. Don't forget to dream and take the sights and the smells and sing. It's your masterpiece. Go ahead and see it all. Don't stop until you live it all.
Make a performance check.
Can I use my other portent for 11 plus 9 for a dirty 20?
Yeah, sure. So as you step up and begin singing, you can see out the corner of your eye the gambler smiling, knowing that she'd won. And then you put on a show, and her mouth falls open for a moment as the crowd kind of stands up, and they're kind of clapping along to the beat as best they can. And you see her shocked, and she kind of fumbles around and picks up her guitar and almost drops it for a second, then picks it up and begins trying to frantically strum along and pretend like she's part of it. But you can tell that the crowd can tell that it's all you tonight.
And when I'm done, Amsen will give a bow towards the audience, and he'll then, after he comes back up, he will turn to the gambler and give a very deep, respectful bow to her.
She does the same back. She kind of shrugs and gives a deep bow as well. Before she kind of moves back to the crowd and tells them like, I need a drink after that. Basically. And she tries to make it like a ride joke out of it, but everyone's like, yeah, you probably do. And she kind of slinks out the backstage. As you leave, people are offering you drinks and wine, and the proprietor offers you like free lodging, just like stay, play another set. And your friends are there as well. As Amsen once again tears up the stage.
You did well.
Classic. Classic Amsen.
That was fun. I'm done now.
Okay. So it's 11:11. I just want to check on time. I'm trying to see what else we had. I think there's a few others. We'll go ahead and end it tonight as y'all are moving through downtime, training and becoming knights and surgeons, doing research in the massive library of Severa, training your various skills and tools, and we'll see where else y'all go next time.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Back to the Story. For notifications when an episode goes live, you can find us on Stitcher, Google Play, Player FM, or TuneIn. Download the app and subscribe or favorite us there. We also have a YouTube channel called Back to the Story, an actual play podcast. If you'd like to contact us, you can tweet us at back2_the_story. If you can't fit it into 280 characters, you can email us at thebonfirefables@gmail.com. And if you'd like further information about the campaign, the player characters, or behind-the-scenes sneak peeks, follow us on either Twitter or our Tumblr website. Lastly, if you'd like to support the show, feel free to buy us a coffee at ko-fi.com/backtothestory.